Formulas. The mathematical symbols exist, and the existence of other objects relies on ascribing meaning to those symbols. Okay. And what happens is that basically Hilbert wins. And by wins, I mean he dominates the sort of the hearts of most working mathematicians. And most mathematicians of the 20th century are ultimately, to the extent that they have an opinion on the matter, formalists. And the way mathematics is taught at the university level in most of the world is kind of from a perspective of formalism. And you know, you can ask, once again, you can ask Schwartz his opinions on things, but you might be shocked to find how much of a formalist he is if you ask him. If you ask him, hey Schwartz, you know, what's up with these, you know, axioms of...
Someone asked him this.
Someone asked him what happened. What did he say?
No, I'm saying someone should ask
I
him.
have asked him this before, and he's like, he really just believes, like, here, just give me the book, show me what the axioms are, give me some pencils, and give me a peanut butter sandwich, and I'm going to get to work. And he just, that's what he does.
Peanut free.
No, when he's at home. Okay. He just kind of believes that mathematics is just this thing that you do, and you just prove things from the axioms, and he just doesn't even believe it even makes any sense to ask whether the axioms are true or not, and the connection to like the real world unclear. So Hilbert wins in the sense that his views about mathematics tend to dominate. Okay. So what
is your opinion?
More complex.
Geometrist.
I don't know. Okay. I find formalism to be lacking. Let's put it that way. Okay. What is Hilbert's program? Okay, we're good. What do we get? 9 minutes. Oh my God. Yo.
No, I was trying to catch a dust.
All right, trying to catch the dust. Good. It's a metaphor. We have to catch the dust. We're going to fix the math. So we have paradoxes. We have Russell's paradox, the liar paradox, etc., etc. Also, Hilbert is extremely... Shh, just forget about it. Hilbert, wait, 9 minutes. Hilbert is extremely motivated. Shh, wait, stop. Oh my God, stop. What have you done? Wait, shut. Hilbert is motivated. He feels he's in a race with intuitionism. And that every year that goes by in which he cannot show that his axioms are consistent, he feels that more people will abandon his program and will defect to the intuitionists. And so he feels like it is not only essential that we solve all of these problems of mathematics, but that we do it quickly, before the intuitionists, pervert the youth. And one of his favorite students, Wheel, I think it's Herman, I can't remember his first name, becomes an intuitionist later and turns against Hilbert. And it just breaks his heart. All right.
You are the chosen one.
So what is Hilbert's program? They all gather together in Göttingen, and some of these people are von Neumann, Paul Bernays, Ackermann, and they developed this thing called the epsilon calculus, which I only barely understand, and which we're not going to get into the details of. And they get to work, man. They get to work. And, okay, what are they doing? What is Hilbert's program all about? Well, we need to create a secure foundation for mathematics. What does that mean? Well, it means axiomatizing all of mathematics, and not just performing the axiomatization, but showing that axiomatization does what we need it to do. In particular, that the axiomatization is consistent, complete, decidable, and categorical. And if he's in a good mood, maybe independent as well. Okay, let's go through these one at a time, and we need to understand what these are. Okay, first of all, what does it mean to formalize mathematics? Well, every branch of mathematics needs to be axiomatized, and this had by and large already been done. All axioms and mathematical propositions should be expressed in a precise formal language. We're just pushing to the end here. Okay, all proofs should be constructed according to well-defined logical rules, and the proof should require no intuition. This is just a kind of another encapsulation of what it means to formalize. All right, what does it mean, and this is the most important one of all, can you stop it with the ball? What does it mean to show that the axioms are consistent? Well, consistency has a very precise technical meaning. It means that you can't prove a bottom. If somehow we could prove a contradiction, then either our proof system is faulty, or our axioms are faulty, or this just can't be. So what Hilbert needs to show is that the following can never happen. Axioms, bottom. He wants this to not happen. This is what it means to prove, that your axioms are consistent, is to prove that the axioms do not lead to a contradiction. So it's fundamentally like a syntactic notion. Are you with me? It's really an argument about proofs. It's an argument that there never will be a proof which will end in a contradiction. Okay, another one that we haven't particularly talked about, but I'm talking about it now, is decidability. Hilbert thinks that not only should we have axioms, but given any sentence, we should be able to determine whether that is a theorem or not. So there should be an algorithm for deciding the truth or falsity of any mathematical statement. Because if we have the axioms, but we can't tell whether they sort of work or not, then what's the good of that? Okay, completeness is also essential. What does it mean to be complete? Basically what it means is that given any statement in the language of that system, then if it's true, it can be proven, and if it's false, then it can't be. Okay, more details on this in a second. So take, for example, that was a little bit, I'm going to push on because this is going to be, I got another slide on this. So for example, take these following axioms of arithmetic, which is one axiomatization of Peano arithmetic. This is missing only the induction schema. Okay, suppose you take these 15 axioms plus the induction, and throw it up on the top of a Finitist proof. Question, is arithmetic complete? And what that means is, take any statement, like 3 times 4 equals 12. Okay, do you personally believe that there is a proof of 3 times 4 equals 12 using these axioms? We kind of did one practically, right? So yes, good, there is. There is, that's just true. Okay, well, how about a slightly more difficult theorem of arithmetic? The twin prime conjecture. Is there a proof of the twin prime conjecture? Well, okay, and here I'm going to say something quite bold and sort of important. The twin prime, and I am going to give my sort of opinion, but this is the opinion of most people, that the twin prime conjecture is a statement about the existence of pairs of twin primes, right? Forever, as you go on forever. I personally feel that is either true or false. This is my personal opinion. And this is the sort of the opinion of these guys as well. And so, if you believe that the twin prime conjecture is true or false, then there should be a proof of that. Because after all, that is a very simple statement of number theory. And what more do the axiomatizations of Peano arithmetic accomplish if not the proof of every fact about numbers? The twin prime conjecture is really no more complicated than 3 times 4 equals 12. I mean, it is more complicated, but it's just still a fact about numbers. And it is a statement that I can write out in the language of Peano arithmetic. And therefore, if it's true, there should be a proof of it. And if it's false, there should be a proof of it. And if that property holds, then we say that it's complete. If there is not a proof of the twin prime conjecture, and there is also not a proof of not the twin prime conjecture, then we have a serious problem. Then when we have an incomplete arithmetization, or incomplete axiomatization of arithmetic. Okay, and so here's what it means. This is another slide clarifying this even better. What does it mean to say that Peano arithmetic is complete? What it means is, if you make any statement in the language of arithmetic, then either there's a proof of that statement or there's a proof of its negation. Okay, and just to prove to you, or to show or something, that the twin prime conjecture is not really all that complicated, I've written it out in first order logic, in the language of arithmetic. After all, it's pretty easy to say what it means to be prime. A number is prime if any number that divides it is either 1 or that number. And what does it mean to say, this statement says that there exists an infinite number of primes. So we should be able to prove that in Peano arithmetic. I'm pretty sure you can. But the twin prime conjecture says that no matter how far out you can go out a little bit farther and find a number which is prime, and so is the next number 2 after it prime. So I can definitely state the twin prime conjecture in the language of Peano arithmetic. Hopefully there's a proof of it, if it's true. And if it's false, then there should be a proof of its negation. And it's got to be true or false, so there better be a proof of one of those two. All right, categoricity is the other property that you want your axiomization to have, which is that all models of those axioms are isomorphic. So given the Peano arithmetic axioms, for example, Hilbert wants to show that every model of the Peano arithmetic axioms will look exactly like each other. Okay. And there was this sort of philosophy. This guy, Emile Du Bois, Raymond, something, had this sort of philosophical work that was kind of a hit in the 1890s, and he talked about all kinds of various riddles. And he says, ignoramus et ignorabimus, which is, I guess, Latin for we do not know and we will not know. This guy published this thing sort of saying, like, there are just some things that we'll just never know. Hilbert says, no, we will know. He responds, David Hilbert responds, he's like, we are going to do this, guys. Come to Göttingen. Follow me. We are going to formalize all of mathematics. We're going to axiomatize all the branches of mathematics. We're going to prove that it is complete, decidable, categorical, consistent. David Hilbert says, wir müssen wissen, wir werden wissen. We must know, we will know. All right, everyone, I'm going to teach you how to say this in German. Very important. It's a fast objective. Wir müssen wissen. Wir werden wissen. All together now. Wir müssen wissen. Wir werden wissen. Okay, all people watching at home, say this out loud while you're watching. Wir müssen wissen. Wir werden wissen. We must know. We will know. We are going to prove that Peano arithmetic is consistent. How are we going to do it? I don't know, but we're going to do it somehow. And okay, I'm running out of time for this presentation a little bit, but as we talked about, we've run out of objects, right? So we need an absolute consistency proof, but we can't make this, the consistency of ZFC, for example, cannot be established with more low-level mathematical objects in the traditional ways. We have to do something else. This is what he needs to show can't happen. And what he basically does, okay, I don't really have time to do this right now, but what Hilbert basically does is he adopts this thing called finitism. All right, now this is a little bit confusing. Finitism is the belief that there are only finite mathematical objects. If you are a finitist, and there are such people, then you don't believe in infinite sets, you don't believe in ordinals, you don't believe in even continuous functions. Okay. This guy Kronecker, who was the one who bullied Cantor, Kronecker believed this. Okay, Hilbert was not a finitist. Just want to clarify that. Not a finitist. But he adopts finitism in his meta-mathematics. He allows himself to prove that ZFC axioms are consistent, he hopes to, using only finite means. Okay, goodbye period 7.